Welcome to the Irrigation Insights Podcast, where we talk about the business of irrigation. I'm your host, Jacob.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
All right, we're finally back. Sorry we missed a week. It has been crazy building out this warehouse. This is the busiest I have ever been. Ben is not with us today. We have a special guest here, our lead trainer, I would say. Heads up all the classroom training. You don't have to look so formal. It's okay. It's pretty informal. We're just going to be talking about some training. This man right here to my right, his name is Ryan.
It's good to be here, Jacob.
Yep. Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us. Thanks for coming on.
No problem.
Yeah. So I promise, guys, we're going to get more consistent about doing this, but this change into this warehouse has been nuts.
Yeah, super nuts.
Nuts on you too, huh?
Yeah, between the training and getting everything set up, we've been crazy.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been this busy for the last 2 months. From like 6 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Meetings and
building shelves, building the office, construction in here. That's just crazy, but it's fun. We're having a good time. But yeah, I thought it'd be good. Well, Ben thought it'd be good too to have you on to talk about training. A lot of guys, I think, struggle with hiring and scaling because they don't have a good onboarding process. I've heard people say that they can't. Well, you always hear you can't find good people. It takes too long to train them. People don't know what they're doing. It takes 5 years. The people act like they have to be, owner-operators act like they have to be as good as they are. They're owner-operators. They've been doing it for 5-7 years, and they want their first hire to be as smart as they are before they put them out in the field.
Right. Yeah, we've had guys come in green. We train them, and it used to be a lot longer. It used to take a lot longer to turn them into techs, all that kind of stuff. But I think we got it down pretty good now as far as getting our techs trained up. I've been doing this, almost 20 years, way before I was supposed to, from my grandpa owning the company and training me when I was young, and we moved that into training our guys.
Yeah, you started out in plumbing.
Yeah, started out in plumbing, and then we did plumbing and sprinkler systems. We were over all of SMU. It was crazy doing that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and we used to start out training in the field. I think a lot of people still start out strictly training in the field.
Yeah, we did that. We've done school. I think school is definitely top-notch versus training in the field. Us being able to go between stuff and actually provide those problems for those people becoming techs and showing them what it looks like, how to fix it, how to diagnose it. It's just, in my opinion, way better than, hey, today we're running 7 jobs and we don't know what we're going to run into.
Yeah, we run 4. But so now that you've seen, so we do the classroom first, what do you think has been the difference now that we do put them in the classroom for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, however long it takes them to grasp it?
Yeah,
before they even set foot on a service truck.
Yeah, back when we used to do it strictly service trucks before we had the space to do classroom, all that kind of stuff, our turnaround on our guys was insane. It was like almost a year you would have a guy in training before he could move up to that position to become a tech. And then finally you could get him to become a tech. He'd go do everything that he needed to do to become a tech, and then he'd call 500 times within the first day of stuff that you just didn't run into in that year of training.
Yeah, I still didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, still had no clue. Still today with the training, we still get that. I can get in calls all day. As far as our technicians go, they call me constantly like, hey, man, am I doing this right? And I'm like, yeah, just trust your instinct.
Yeah.
You're doing everything 100% right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and you can't try. I mean, you just can't. There's no way to replicate everything you're going to see in the field.
No, if you stop learning how to do a trade, it's time to quit. I mean, you learn something new every day. There's a different type of leak or a different way to go about it. I mean, you've seen the pictures of stuff that I do. A lot of these guys like slip fixing everything. They'll put in a T. Other companies, they'll T every side of that slip, or slip every side of that T. And to me, it's, how would you say that, unprofessional. I like hard piping as much as possible, using the minimum amount of slip fixes, stuff like that. It's just preference, I guess.
Yeah, hard piping is better.
Yep. I mean, you run into different scenarios, stuff like that all the time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, yeah, you just can't. There's always going to be different scenarios, and I think that's why we like to focus on in the classroom. That's why I like to press on like 3 areas. First one being, how does the sprinkler system function? If we can go through what are the components, what are the tools that involve the sprinkler system, and then how does it function? Then we can get into diagnosing.
Yep.
If you know how it functions, and then we know how to diagnose it, I mean, if you know those 2 things, that takes you a long way. And then we can learn the third part, which is just selling the repairs, which is just separate. But if you know how it functions, you understand how it functions from the tie-in to the timer.
Right. And I mean, me as a technician, I always like to explain everything to my customer, how it works, why it works, what it does, what its purpose is, how you know that it's failing. If I can give them a lifespan on it, like, hey, this will work between 5 to 10 years, everything working right, I like to do that because I just love my customers to be just as knowledgeable about what's going on at their house as I am.
Yeah.
To better their decision in what should I do moving forward? How can I better my system rather than just fix it for today? That stuff goes a long way. Explaining it to your customer, showing them this is the way that it needs to be done. This is how we need to proceed forward. This is why we need to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of customers have no idea about this. The sprinklers are like totally foreign to them. Even the timer is totally foreign to them.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. And I have customers ask me all the time, how do I even start this thing? Oh, yeah, it's really simple. This is how.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, for us, that's what sets us apart from the competition. Taking the time with the customers to show them everything, show them how it works, show them what it does, why it does. And we want our guys to be that knowledgeable to be able to explain it to a customer in a way that you can take somebody that knows absolutely nothing about it. Then by the time you're finished, they can tell their neighbor or their friend or family member, hey, this is how this works.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, there's so much there. I mean, we've said before, everything compounds on each other, but I think that's why flat rate works instead of charging hourly. If you can build that stuff into your price.
Well, I mean, flat rate's always better for your customers too. I mean, when you're talking hourly versus flat rate, I mean, there's jobs. I've said this numerous times. You can have a head that takes you 32 seconds when you're knowledgeable about what you're doing, or 3 hours. If there's a tree on top of it, the roots have grown around it, you have to cut all of that out the way. The customer's paying a flat rate for that regardless. So if that head's taking me an hour worth of time to do, that customer don't have to come outside and say, well, this head was X amount of dollars. It took you X amount of time to do this one. Why?
Well, some people would argue that's why it's better to do hourly, because it's better for us, not the customer.
Well, that's why it's averaged out. You take 100 jobs, you average them out, figure out what the time frame is, and then that's when you go off your flat rate.
Yeah, it does average out. And then you can also have multiple head prices if you know that head is in a tree. I mean, you can have
you can do that too.
Price for a head in a tree. But I think if you're charging hourly and you're telling the customer, hey, we're $150 an hour, they might not want to talk to you. But for us, we can sit there and talk with them. We're not on the clock like that.
Right, but also at the end of the day, would you rather me come up to you, hey, Mr. Jacob, this is what we got. You have this valve that needs to be replaced. We're going to start you out at $50 for this valve, and then we're going to charge you hourly from here. And then I go do my work. It takes me 3 hours. I come back. I say, okay, that valve was $577.92. And you're like, I didn't expect to pay that.
Yeah.
Or is it better for me to come up and say, hey, man, this is your valve. This is how much we charge. And then I'm out there for 3 hours and come back and say, okay, this is what we charged. We ran into a bunch of issues. But
yeah, because the thing with hourly is if you told me it's this much an hour, I'm going to say, well, how long does it normally take?
How long does it normally take you? And then if I say, you got one head out here that's broken, well, how long does that normally take? And the city has done overpoured the sidewalk, and now I got that overpour I have to deal with and chip that concrete out the way. And I'm like, oh, yeah, those heads normally take like a minute. And then I come back to you an hour later, and I'm like, all right, here's your head, man.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, well, what took so long? And I'm like, well, the city's kind of screwed you over here. They overpoured their sidewalk, and it was pushing on the head, causing it to be in a bind. So I had to chip all that concrete out the way. I got you running now, but you're still upset because I told you to take, a minute worth of time, and now it's taking me an hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still feel flat rate's way better.
Yeah, I think it's way better too. Yeah. We're not pressed. We can sit there and talk with them. I think it's just all around better. Hourly, I feel like you're in a rush. It's about how many jobs can we get done in a day. And a long time ago, we switched to, I don't want to rush. I don't want to rush to get 6, 7, 8 jobs done in a day. I want to get 4 jobs, 3 jobs, 2 jobs done. Yep. And let's spend as much time with them as possible.
No, I mean, it still comes back to like, what do you want to do? Do you want to fix this system, or do we want to kind of future-proof it? I mean, you've seen my quotes. If I have a customer that has 10 zones and they have 4 out of 10 that have bad valves, I'm going to overhaul the whole system. I'm going to go ahead and try to convince them, hey, these 4 valves are bad. We need to go on and do all 10 of them. Because if these 4 are bad, you have to wonder how much longer we have on these other 6. It could be next month. It could be next week. It could be 10 years. Who knows? But if we have these 4.
If you have 4 that are down, like.
Yeah, I mean, overhaul the whole system, throw them in heads, pipe leaks, whatever you got to. But, at the end of the day, we're out here to try to make our customer systems better, try to get everything better for them, futurize their systems where they don't see us as much. I hear it all the time.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. And Ryan sold some pretty big quotes doing those big overhauls like that. And to anybody that says, like, oh, well, if you're just thinking that that's selling unnecessary stuff, you got to change your mindset because.
No, it's most definitely not selling unnecessary stuff. Like I said, you have 4 that's already bad. It's the difference between what we call the dummy box and the voltmeter. I can tell you if your valve's going bad with an ohm meter rather than the dummy box telling me it's good.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you like, hey, this valve is starting to show symptoms of going out just like this one. It's not selling something unnecessary. It's necessary down the road. If we can give you a better price by doing bulk and being out there for a whole day, 2 whole days, whatever we need to do, if I can better your price in our price book by doing that, contacting you guys in the office and saying, hey, these guys need 10 valves. We need to lower the price for them a little bit because we're not just doing 1.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's really, I think people are worried about they're nervous to send those estimates or even offer that price. They don't want to make the customer mad. But what's really going to make them mad is if you do those 4 valves and then a month later, another valve goes bad.
Right. And then I'm back out there. I'm like, hey, man, this is another, $300,
yeah, now they got to pay
whatever.
again. And they're like,
right.
What the hell? Why didn't you catch this?
When I could have, let's just say for a minute, it's like $600 a valve. If we take that money and we roll 10 of them in there, give them a $200 discount per valve, make them $400 instead of $600, those customers are going to want to do that and futurize that system because we know these 4 are already bad. I can give you $200 off per valve if we do it all at the same time rather than 1 at a time. Now when I come back that month later, I have to charge them that $600 again because I'm just doing 1 after another after another.
Yeah, and it costs money to just keep driving out there and coming back.
And then that's what I try to drive home to the customers is, these are already bad. We need to really replace these. That way y'all don't keep seeing me. If y'all have to keep seeing me, it's going to keep costing you money.
Yeah.
You don't want that. I don't want that.
Yeah, just get it done.
let's just get it done for you. Let's spend a day out here, get everything fixed up, running back right like it's supposed to.
Yeah, and we train on that too. I mean, if we can train how the system works, how to diagnose, I mean, that's part of diagnosing, checking.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, diagnosing is definitely one of those things we have to drive home how to do, when it comes to our new people. This is what you look for. This is your steps to figuring out this is what's wrong. When you're experiencing this symptom, it could be this, or this. We need to diagnose that further to figure out which one of these four it is. I mean, like Joey, one of our other techs, when he was a new tech, he had that one system. The dude had a bad double check, and he was like, I think it's the double check. And it was right after he become a tech, right after he got his stuff to become a tech. And he called me, he's like, hey man, I changed this double check, and it's still low pressure on the system. Well, with my years of plumbing experience, I started running them through stuff, Is there a PRV present? Is it this? Is it this? Is it this? Turned out the guy's water meter was bad. So, he needed to double check anyways. We cut him a little bit of a deal on it. And he was super happy afterwards. He's still a customer today.
Yeah. That's cool.
Which I told Joey, I was like, hey, the best way to test that, like to distinguish between the water meter and the double check, is have them run their shower in their house, because we have to diagnose if it's just the sprinkler system or if it's the whole house itself. If it's the whole house itself, then it's got to be something else. We're experiencing water pressure issues there. So like the way that we would determine that is have them turn on their shower in their master bath, then turn on their tub full blast. Then we'll see a pressure drop. If we see that pressure drop, we know that we have pressure issues in the house as well. Then they know it's not just the sprinkler system, it's everything.
Yeah.
I mean, we definitely don't want to diagnose stuff wrong, because at the end of the day, your customers get mad when you do that.
So you think was that on the city side or was that on the service line?
No, it was the city side. It was their actual meter. I don't know if they have like a backflow device in there or like a pressure regulator, but it had actually gone bad. And then he called the city. I think it was Rowlett. He called the city of Rowlett. They came out the same day, changed it out for him. He was back up and running. Yeah.
Nice. I guess it didn't even cost him any money.
Nope.
Heck yeah.
And he got his new double check. He was all happy. We went back out there, fixed a couple of heads for him. Once we got the pressure back up, he was like, man, I got these heads broke. We're like, you know what? We'll come out there and do them for free.
Yeah, for some inconvenience. And that's pretty sweet. Yeah, I mean, we had a question. Somebody saying, they were talking about single guy company making $180,000 a year revenue.
Yeah.
Wanting to make more money. He's talking about raising prices, which I'm sure he needs to do. But these like types of stuff is how you can also increase revenue when you're offering options, when you got 4 bad valves for sure, but you're checking the other ones, you're offering full system upgrades. You're turning a $600, $800 job into a $5,000 job.
Yeah, I mean, it's everywhere does good, better, best. That's the best way to do your stuff,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you're doing good, better, best, you're just future-proofing the system.
Yep.
Now, some people sit here and say, oh, you're trying to sell them something they don't need, something like that. That's not how it is.
Yeah, that's not what you need.
If I go out to your house and your double check has rusted handles, but they're not completely broke off yet, and I say, hey, this is your stop for your sprinkler system. If something happens in the sprinkler system, this is how you distinguish between turning off the water between just your sprinkler system or your whole house. When we get busy, I mean, companies are booked out for months.
Yeah, around here they are. They're booked out a long time.
Yeah, I mean, in the summer, do you really want to have your water off for a month?
Or they're going to be calling a plumbing company, and I've told people on here before, plumbing companies charge $4,000 for a backflow.
Ridiculous prices. Yeah.
It's like,
and then they hardly don't know what they're doing anymore. I mean, back in the day, plumbing companies, like I said, that's where I cut my teeth. Plumbing companies used to do all sprinkler systems. And then progressed forward and people started saying like, yeah, I don't really care about doing that. I don't want to do that. That's why we have old copper systems still in Dallas today. And half these people don't even know how to work on them.
Yeah, there's old copper systems.
Because they don't have that background in it. They're like, oh, well, let me shark bite this. That's not the answer.
Yeah.
But I don't know where I was going with that.
Well, the only thing plumbers do is backflows. And if it's anything past the backflow, they say call somebody else.
Yeah, I had a plumbing company. I was at a job it was out somewhere. Where was that? It was like out north somewhere, way out north. And he had a plumbing company come in, and they ended up looping his main line into a lateral because both lines were broke and they didn't know where it went. So they ended up looping his main line into the lateral, and I was sitting there trying to diagnose it. Okay, it's a stuck valve, and I'm looking. I'm like, man, what valve is this? And it turned out that it was looped into the main line. I'm like, where these plumbers dig up at, still trying to figure out the solution to it. And he's like, oh, this 16-foot area right here. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man. I would call them back out here and have them dig it back up. I can come back out and fix it if they finally find it for me. But, I mean, I'll just be out here digging for you. That's it. Until I find it.
Dang. That's some of the stuff. All you can really teach new people is how to diagnose.
Yeah, most definitely.
Because that's stuff you can't replicate in the classroom. Just, people out there putting main lines on the laterals, because that will happen.
Yeah. No, it'll definitely happen. That's why, yet again, that's why plumbers kind of got out of it. When they see the broken pipes, they're like, oh, these two go together. Well, it doesn't always go together. Oh, the T must just be gone,
Yeah. Yeah. But if people know, if you can teach how the system works, then you can understand, well, if I have this and I have that, this should theoretically work. If it's not working, something funky is going on.
Right. When you turn that backflow on and that zone goes to running, in this case, those heads went to running, you start running your zones. You look for the difference. You look for the pressure loss. So first thing you do is go in there, you run your first zone, check those heads, see if they experience pressure loss. Look for anything different. When you get through it, that one actually threw me for a loop for a while because zone 6 was actually stuck closed. So when I got to zone 6, I thought that was zone 6. So I located the valve and then turned it on manually. When I turned it on manually, more heads popped up. I was like, oh crap, that's not zone 6. And then that's when I finally figured out, oh, the plumber's looped it into the main line. But going through checking, that's how you get your diagnosis on that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I think, I mean, that's it. If you can come up with a good program, that's how you're going to scale. I think that's kind of what I was trying to tell people is that's how you scale. It doesn't take 5 years. I've seen another guy, me and Ben talked about it a while back. Guy said, oh, in order to learn, it takes 15 years to learn. It's like, it doesn't.
That's just not true. I mean, I've taught people from green to being able to be a tech to go take their licensing and all that in a few months. What it really comes down to is how well you take in the knowledge, what type of learner you are, and how well your teacher's doing. If you're teaching them, you're running them through it, and they're a good student, you can have a guy from a green guy to a tech within a month. If not, then we've had some bad apples in our bunch that they just from square one just wasn't taking it in, and then went off over Neverland at the end like you were starting over from day one.
I was gonna say, I mean, the guys that do it in a month are very rare. They probably have some other experience. Most people, it takes them several months. But, I mean, for the most part, you can get it done pretty quick. You can get it done in a year. Or,
definitely.
8 months. 6-8 months, you can get it done. But, with the proper setup, with the proper infrastructure, with a good trainer, if you have the classroom set up, a lot, I don't know. Some people, don't have that. You got to kind of grow to that level. But if you're just doing it in the field, it takes a while. You never know what you're going to hit.
Yeah.
And in the field, you have to really prioritize. That's what's tough too. Is you're trying to get all the work. When you're in the field, you're trying to get all the work done, and you're not prioritizing
what needs to get done first. Yeah, like say you have a pipe leak and 5 broken heads, your priority matter should be on the pipe leak first, because like I can't speak for everybody in our company, but like when I glue joints together, my glue will set in 10 minutes. It's full cure. So I prioritize my pipe leak because I always give my glue full cure. Since I have that glue that'll set in 10 minutes, I give it that 10 minutes. Where other people might be 24 hours, then they have to shut your system off, come back the next day kind of thing. I'll give it that full cure time. So my priority first is that pipe leak. I cut that out, fix that pipe leak, then I move to my heads because that's now setting while I'm doing other work.
Yeah.
And it's little things like that that you pick up over the years of experience that will bring you into being able to do a job like that, go out there.
But some people don't prioritize training at all. They're prioritizing doing the job and kind of expecting you to like watch and learn. But you have to really, if you're training in the field, you have to prioritize training over, you almost have to prioritize training in the field over getting the job done.
Yeah, first thing I like to do with my trainees is I like to ask them, what type of learner are you? Different people learn in different ways. Some people will learn by watching. Some people learn by doing. Some people have to watch you 2-3 times. If I can figure out what type of learner you are, that's the way I'm going to teach you. If you're a hands-on kind of guy, I'm going to stand up, tell you how to do that, and then you're going to do it yourself. That's how you're going to learn it. If I do it 50 times in front of you, but you're more of a hands-on person, it doesn't until I let you put your hands on it that you're actually taking that knowledge in.
Right.
So, first question I always ask them is, how do you learn? How do you want to learn? Do you want to see me do it once? Do you want to see me do it twice? Do you want to do it first? We had a guy, I forget what his name was, but he was a hands-on guy. By the end of the day, on his training, he was already focused on like valves and head replacements. He was basically doing it all himself by the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like a lot of this stuff, a lot of like the actual work part is not hard. Physically it can be a little hard, but it's not complex. It's not complex. You can do it. I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the hardest part is diagnosing.
Yeah, diagnosing is definitely the hardest part. It's figuring out what's causing what,
Yeah.
The actual doing the work, it does take brain power, especially like that one nightmare job that I had. Once a customer got out there and dug the area up himself, he was going to fix it himself, and he cut out like 7 different pipes right there in a box.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. And then he just...
Yeah, I sent you all the pictures of it, and he's like, oh man, I don't know what I'm doing now, so just fix it. And I'm like, oh yeah, great. Let me just figure it out.
Yeah, what goes back to what?
So I got it figured out for him, and then we ended up having cut wires on that and all sorts of crap. That was just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's one of those jobs you're like, yeah, $3,000, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Nowadays, that's what we do.
Yeah, nowadays it'd definitely be more than it was back then. So.
Yeah, but most of all, if you run it start to finish, it's pretty easy. Like once you get to the, I say easy, but it's what I mean is like it's not complex. That's why we want to start. Learn how the system works. Learn how to diagnose. If you know how it works and you know how to diagnose, then you should be able to grasp the concept. And then when we talk about, getting these guys at least being able to wrap up the training in 6, 8 months, 12 months, that doesn't mean they're not going to have questions once they're done. They're still going to have questions. They're still going to run into stuff. But at least they understand the basics. That's part of growing the business. You got to be able to take the risk of sending them out there. Can they go out, identify a master valve that's not working? Yes. Can they identify that zone 2 is not working and fix it? Yes. Will they be able to identify that a plumber came out and looped the main line into a zone valve?
Theoretically, they would.
Theoretically, but they might have to make some calls on it,
Right. And all of our trainees, most of them call me the first 6 months to a year that they're on a truck by themselves, they'll call me almost every day and then just start fading out throughout the year. And then eventually, once they're past the year, I'll kind of every now and then hear from them. But when they first hit that truck, they're just so second guessing themselves. They know. And a lot of times I'm just like, hey, go back to your training. What would I tell you to do in this instance? And they're like, do this. And I'm like, okay, now what? And they're like, okay, so it's doing this, so it's going to be this. And I'm like, yes, that's it. And they're like, oh, I knew that.
So they knew the answer. They just
right. They knew the answer anyways. They just slipped their mind. They're second guessing themselves, jitters or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, that makes sense, and that's normal. That's just part of growing. You can't be. I think a lot of people are afraid to take that.
I mean, heck, we got technicians that's been on a truck for a year. I mean, earlier we were running through sales training with those guys, and they're in there getting nervous in classroom talking to me, and I'm like, why are you getting nervous, man? We're just having fun.
Oh man, but I love that. I love when they get nervous here.
Oh, dude, I love doing sales training. It's one of my favorite things to do because we have so much fun with it,
Yeah.
We take real world stuff that we've heard and just kind of mix it into the conversation. Like one of our techs earlier, I was running him through some stuff and he's like, man, are you messing with me? And I was like, no. He's like, are you trying to be difficult? And I was like, no, this is real world stuff, man. If you haven't heard this yet, then you're going to. Believe me.
Yeah, you're going to hear it. I love that stuff. I'd much rather you be nervous here
than nervous in front of a customer. Yeah. Definitely. Any day of the week.
Because after we do it, if we put you in front of, so let's stand you up in front of 6 dudes and make you do some role play. And after 10 times, you're not going to be as nervous. And then once you get out in the field and you're by yourself,
you're not nervous at all.
You're not really that nervous.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they've been running their trucks for a while now, and they still get nervous up there. I don't know if it's just intimidation of being around the higher ups of the company or what, but they always get nervous for some reason.
Yeah. I mean, I still get nervous when y'all come out and ask me to do it. They're like, oh shit, all right, I'll do it. Yeah. I'm gonna do it. But I'm just like, ooh, all right, let's go, let's do it. But after the second, third time, I'm like, all right, we're in it.
Yeah, we got this now.
Yeah,
let's have some fun with it.
Yeah, but I want to keep that culture of like never stop training, just never stop. Like iron sharpens iron. Yeah, just keep going.
That's the way that we want to do it. We want to keep, on these days when we're having off days or early days or whatever, it's always a good idea to bring them back in here and just run through what we're doing or sharpen their skills or let them know some new stuff, some new changes, different ways of going about something. I mean, that's always better for them because they're getting that experience, that help that they need, to help them kind of push through all that stuff. I mean, it's just one of those things. If we keep bringing them in, keep showing them how to do this, keep running through it, keep pushing them. I mean, back when we used to have meetings, we'd have I think back then we had like 6 or 7 guys, all 6 or 7 guys doing the same pitch to the same person. And it was never the same,
Yeah.
They've all been trained by the same people. I mean, most of our guys here have been either trained by me or somebody that I've trained. So truthfully, we all should have the same way of going about something, but everybody picks up different stuff as they go. No 2 people are going to do it the same. And that's why I love doing the training with these guys and sharpening their skills. Even our experienced techs that's been out there for 4 or 5 years for us, they can still come in and learn something from somebody else,
That's what Ben said. Ben said, I was in meetings all day, well, a lot of the day, but Ben said y'all were out there like doing sales training, and guys were like, "Oh, you say that to people, and that works, and this and that," and you're just going back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, Shay was being a customer earlier, and we were selling to him, and man, he was just hammering everybody as the customer. So what I like to do when I'm doing that is I pick one reason why I don't want to do the job, and then I stick with that reason. Once you touch that basin, I let you have it at that point. Shay was just bouncing around. He just had all sorts of stuff, and I was like, man,
I'm about to talk to Shay about that.
You need to pick one thing and stick with it. He's like, I thought y'all wanted me to be difficult. I was like, not that difficult.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta. Or I like to pick a personality, like But yeah, pick
Yeah.
one reason, or I'll pick the personality type.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. And I mean, when Shay and me, we battled off, he didn't even have any objections by the end of it. And those guys were like, dude, you took it way too easy on him. And he's like, I had nothing to object him on because he explained everything he was doing, why he was doing it as we went through it. I mean, I had nothing for him at the end. His price was awesome. He had already told me why I needed everything. And at the end of the thing, he signed the quote. And
damn, if Shay said that, dude, that's killer then, really, because that's really the best way to do it. Tackle the objections before they even come up.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, it just comes back to teaching your customer. You know, that's what I always like to do. I had a customer 2 days ago. He had another company come out. The other company came out, dug up in his front yard, told him he had a pipe leak that he didn't even know existed, cut his line. I'm pretty sure it was leaking after I left. I actually left the hole open because he thought they cut his wires because his zone 2 wasn't working. So I dug it up for him as a courtesy kind of thing. It looked like their their fix was actually leaking, so we'd left the hole open so he could check it. And he was upset about the other company. And I was just explaining to him, like, as we were going through it, he ended up having to open on his own too. And I was like, man, this could be this. It could be this. There's like a 33% chance that it could be this. And we got into it. I was like, this is the first thing we need to do. We did that. We ended up finding the valve. It ended up being a bad solenoid on the valve that was testing open, which they do. It's rare, but they do it. Normally they'll test short. So when I went and got my customer, he's like, man, you explained all that to me before we even got to this point. And I was like, yeah, man, like I said, I want you to have the knowledge moving forward of everything that we could go through. Fault locate, valve locate, wire splice, rewire the whole system. I mean, I try to have my customers be not as acknowledgeable about what they're putting into their system as possible. Does it take me longer sometimes? Most definitely. But I can tell you one thing, when I leave, the customer ain't going to call another company and say, that guy did not tell me anything.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no doubt. That's what you get when you can't rush the calls. And you get higher tickets when you don't rush the calls.
No, I mean, I love talking to my customers, explaining stuff to them, making sure that they have that knowledge moving forward. I want them to be able to call their friend and say, hey, man, I actually know what I'm talking about on a sprinkler system now. What's your problem? Let me diagnose your system.
Yeah. See if Damon texted you.
Somebody texted me.
Yeah.
No, that was Ben.
Oh. I thought Damon was going to pop in. One of our salesmen. I thought he was going to pop in and say hello. He's supposed to be here by now. Oh, well.
He's probably still putting up chairs. He might not be coming in either.
Yeah, I might be afraid to open the door.
Here, I'll text him. I know I'm going to mute that thing.
Yeah, mute that thing. Text Damon. Yeah, Damon's he's got some good stuff as far as sales goes.
Never mind, I'm going to mute that thing right
now. Yeah, when you can really take the time. I mean, we used to be the type of company that would run. Back in 2020, we were running 6, 7 calls a day, 8 calls a day. I've said before that our goal, I remember telling Ben and Michael, they were running 6, 7 calls a day, and I told them, we got to make more. They were making like $1,000 a day off 6, 7.
Ridiculous.
It's stupid. And I told them, we got to make more money. I need y'all running 10, 12 calls a day.
Yeah, which is just terrible for morale.
Terrible for morale, terrible for customer service,
terrible for the company look, all of it.
Yeah, all of it. All you can do is rush in, be like, hey, sir, what's your problem? That? All right, got it.
Yeah, I'll change this head off.
$150 out.
Yeah. And then they call the next day and go, hey, when your guy was out here, I had 7 more broken heads. After he left, I ran my system, and why didn't he notice any of this?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah.
Well, because you told him you had 1 broken head. Well, isn't that part of his job is to check out the system?
Yep. Yeah, just blowing through stuff. Yeah, we had to take the opposite approach, slow way down. That was scary at first. Let's freaking double and triple prices, and let's slow down. Let's triple check everything. Let's start offering options. Let's build packages.
Yeah, we really kind of changed gears once I came in. When I came in, we were still a small little company. And we really started changing our gears and changing the way that we did stuff at that point. And then, as we grew our technicians, we grew our people, we grew the way that we did things. We've constantly changed stuff up as far as a company, constantly going with the flow, as you would say.
Yeah, I was looking. You came in April of 22. So it was just me, Ben, and Michael from 2020 to 22, and it was just us.
Yeah, hammering jobs out.
Yeah, just hammering jobs out, heads in the sand, not knowing what to do. Well, I would say that was us from 2020 till sometime in 21 until we figured out what to do. Then we upped our prices, we slowed down.
Yeah, and y'all actually found it by accident. It was the funny thing because it was actually Ben that found it.
Well, no, I talked to a guy who gave me some guidance, and then we upped some prices. Ben started selling.
Yeah.
Michael struggled.
Michael kind of struggled through all of it as we grew the company and changed it. He's gotten a lot better now.
Yeah, so. He's a lot better now. But he did struggle for a while. He struggled to make that change. But, and not everybody will make that change. And we had to let Michael go at one point for about 8 months. And we brought Michael back. And he's doing good now.
I believe that was the change he needed, though.
Yeah, I think so. When he came back with a better attitude.
Back when, like you were saying, I think you said I got hired on in 22. Yeah. It feels like a lot longer than that. But
I know. It feels like 10 years ago. It was freaking not even 3.
But back then, me and Ben were getting up and running one job a day. And I remember one particular day you'd called me or Ben, and we were on like a call because we were just BSing because that's what we do sometimes. And me and Ben had just got to our first job. Both of us had just sold like a $1,500 job right out the gate. And you're like, dude, Michael needs all the rest of y'all's jobs because he's already went through 5 this morning.
Yeah, he'd be done. Yeah,
and we were
11. He'd be done with 4 jobs.
We were already at $1,500 for the day, and he was 5 jobs in and needed the rest of ours. We were just job number 1, just got there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was crazy. But
it's crazy how much things have changed.
Yeah, it's changed a lot.
3 years.
Yeah.
It's nuts. But, and that's what we try. That's really the whole purpose of the podcast is because I still see people out there charging low prices, not adapting. And if I hadn't talked to that guy, if we hadn't adapted, that's still where we would be. Or hell, y'all would have quit and moved on somewhere else.
No, I feel like we would still be where we are. Maybe not exactly where we are today, but I feel like we would be bigger than we were. Does that make sense?
I don't know. If we wouldn't have adapted, you probably would have never got it. Like if we had stayed where we were in 2021, we were running 6 jobs a day. We were struggling, man.
Most definitely. You can't. If you're blowing through your workload like that, you can't sustain that.
Yeah,
6 jobs a day, 2 technicians, that's 12 jobs a day. The phones just ain't ringing that much.
Well, they were ringing, but our average ticket less than $200 now. At that time, Google.
Yeah, Google was killing us too.
Well, Google at that time, Google's cost per lead was like $16. Now it's almost 40. You know what I mean? It's tripled. So if we had stayed that course, we'd probably be out of business.
Yeah.
Truly, just because of Google.
But at that point, we were already, like I said, when I got hired on, we were already on the process of changing that course.
Yeah, we had changed that course. But if we hadn't changed, Just yeah, it was just it's a nightmare. And the thing is that like Google is still getting more expensive. Parts still getting more expensive. Everything's still getting more expensive. You have to adapt.
Right. There is no. You can't live in the 50s. You can't hold those prices. I know quite a few companies out there that's been in business since the 60s, the 50s, the 70s, whatever, that they have that customer base and they want to stay true to their customers, so they don't want to up their prices, and they feel bad about upping their prices because they've had this customer for 10 years that's been paying, we'll say hourly, $100 for an hour's worth of your time. And now you just can't sustain that,
Yeah, you can't.
Your average guy at McDonald's now is making $15 an hour flipping a burger. And if your company is only pulling in $100 worth of $100 an hour for your wage for the company, I mean, you're not going to get anybody higher on at that company. Eventually, they're going to dissolve.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, you just can't do it. Yeah,
no, there's no way. I mean, we've had customers that we've given quotes to, and you just gradually see the quotes going up over the years, and they're like, "Well, why did it start out at this and now it's this?" And you're like, "It's 4 years later, It's just everything's going up."
Yeah. I mean, you saw the price matrix we had for a $250 timer, a $250 timer, that's what it costs us to buy.
Yeah.
To hit a 55% gross margin was insane what it cost us.
Yeah.
That's what we would have to charge. We put the price in, it's $250 for us to buy. Here's what our commission is. Here's what we pay in
bonus, not commission.
Yeah, bonus. Here's what we pay in credit card fees.
Yeah.
A couple other things like that. Put all that in. This is what you have to charge at 55%. It was stupid.
Yeah, it was nuts.
I mean, we
remember we were going up by $5, and that thing wasn't even budging. It was still sitting there.
We went up by $200, and it wasn't.
Yeah,
it went up by 1%.
Yeah, 1%.
Dang. And we thought we were already expensive. We were like, golly.
I mean, we've had customers tell us that too. Like, this is too much, and we're like, look, it breaks down like this,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and you can't let customers decide your prices. They don't decide your prices. You decide your prices.
It doesn't work like that. I mean, I did a job one time. A customer's like, "Hey, I have no clue what's going on. I think I got a pipe leak." And I'm like, "Hey, you got this bad master valve." And he's like, "Well, how much is that to fix?" I was like, "It's X amount of dollars." And he's like, "That's just too much." And I was like, "How do you know that's too? You had no clue what was even going on. How could you possibly know how much it should be?"
Yeah.
I mean, I come out and I told you what's wrong with your system. So it's my knowledge that's leading you to your fix, and you're telling me what I should charge for this part, this material?
Yeah, you can't.
I mean,
they don't get to decide. Only we get to decide. We're the ones that know our overhead costs.
And I mean, my favorite thing to ask a customer when we hit that break, like, say I'm at $600 for something, and we hit that pause where they're just like, "Oh, well, you're just too much." My favorite thing to ask is, "Well, how much do you think this is worth?" $100. Well, all right, see you later.
Well, it's like, how'd you come up with that number?
Right, where'd you get that from?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I've been YouTubing it,
Googling it. You better go buy some tools and some parts. And
yeah, I mean, I tell customers that all the time about heads. Well, I could get this head changed for this much. Sweet, go to Home Depot, buy that head since that's what you just told me. Come back, dig this up, take that head out. Put that head in, turn your system on, guarantee you it's going to get stopped up. Mm-hmm. Now you're going to go back to Home Depot. You're going to buy another head. Let's say you get it right that time. Now you got 2 trips to Home Depot. I'm here right now. This head has brought itself to you. It's not just the head. It's the head, the riser, the nozzle. It's all of it.
And the warranty. And
the warranty.
Convenience.
The convenience of it, doing the warranty, just call me. the warranty, the convenience, the knowledge of inserting that head. This is one of my favorite things. At Home Depot, you can buy fixed heads. So you get out there and they got a head on a sidewalk or on a street,
Yeah.
and they got a 360 on it. They're spraying, their neighbor's yard across the street.
They're not paying attention to that. It's fixed with a 360-degree
Yeah, and
nozzle.
you're like, this isn't
They put
right.
that on a corner of a sidewalk in a
Yeah.
driveway. Nobody, they don't know.
They don't know that. And they're like, hey, I changed that head. And you're like, I can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, this ain't right, man.
Yes. This is dumb.
And he's like, well, what do you mean it ain't right? Well, you water in your driveway, it ain't going to grow.
Yeah. How much is that water costing you?
Right. That water is just becoming
How long
straight
have
runoff.
you, when did you change that? Oh, last March. Oh, really? Because you've wasted definitely,
Yeah,
$60 in water in that.
Yeah, that head uses 2.7 gallons of water a minute. The head that you should put there is 0.5 gallons of water per minute. So you've basically been putting 2 gallons of water down on your driveway.
Yeah, if you'd have just paid me my price,
Yep.
you would have saved that much money in water.
And your timer's running for ridiculous times. You got
Yeah.
45 minutes on this one zone.
Yeah, it's just like, dude, yeah. It's
Well,
incredible.
And making them understand, like, the way that the ground absorbs the water, absorption rate, and all
infiltration
that.
rates.
Yeah, I mean, it's just watching a customer understand that stuff is hilarious because they're like,
That's why
Well-
education's important.
oh, most definitely. Because I walk in there all the time, and their landscapers have put 35 minutes on this one zone in their front yard, and you're like, what in the world? You don't need that much time.
The soil literally can't accept it.
Yeah.
At least here in Dallas, other places where y'all listening, maybe it can, but in Dallas
Yeah.
where it's
Black
super
gumbo,
hard
yeah,
clay
clay.
soil, it literally cannot accept
Yeah.
past like 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, you got a
all
7-minute
slopes.
infiltration rate, and for 7 minutes it's actually taking that water in. Then we'll say it's 37 minutes just to keep it round. 30 more minutes of time, it's just running straight into the
Yeah.
road. It's not accepting that anymore. And then watching them understand that, hey, if we break this time up, we'll run through the whole system, then we'll start this time again.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get a deeper soak to your grass. It's going to look better because
Yeah.
you think you're watering for 35 minutes, you're watering for 7.
Yeah.
The rest of it's just a waste of money.
Yeah. Clay soil at a 16% slope has a 0.03 inch per hour. That's what it said. That's what it accepts. 0.03 inches per hour of water.
Yeah, it's nuts.
It's like nothing.
Yeah.
That's like me peeing out there.
Yeah, spilling your water bottle.
Yeah, I mean it's at a 16% slope, which is that's like a driveway.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, infiltration rate's definitely something people don't understand and can't grasp until you force them to understand it. My favorite thing is bottle of water versus 5-gallon bucket, because it seems to be what makes people understand it the best. If I go outside and I pour a bottle of water on the ground, it absorbs right in. If I fill up this 5-gallon bucket and I dump it on the ground, it runs off. And they're like, you're right. I've been there. I've done that. I've dumped a 5-gallon bucket on the ground and watched it run down the street. And you're like, yeah, that's what this is. For your 35 minutes of runtime, 30 minutes of that is running right down. That's the 5-gallon bucket.
Yeah, even 12 minutes. 12 minutes is too much.
Oh, man. Not to keep doing this. I had a job one time thing, but this one's hilarious. I had this customer one time. He had called us. There was no notes for him. I had nothing. It just said inspection. So I get out there, and this guy has a river. I'm talking river running down the street. I'm following this up. I'm like, man, where's all this water coming from? I pull up in front of our house. It's running all the way down the side of his house. Looks like straight up a river coming down his driveway, running out to the street, running down the street. I knock on the door. Hey, I'm Ryan with Lawn Sense, Let me guess why I'm out here. The river. And he's like, the what? And I'm like, that river right there? And he's like, no, I got some dead grass. I'm kind of curious what's causing it. When we go into his backyard, he's like, man, I've had this resodded 7 times, and they don't know what's wrong with it, why it keeps dying. I don't think it's getting enough water. I go into his controller. He is running his controller for 23 hours out of the day. Yeah, he was running that particular zone for 6 hours, the max runtime. And I was like, I figured out why your grass is dying. You're killing it. You're drowning it. And he's like, well, it's only 6 minutes of time. I was like, no, man, that's 6 hours.
Bro, what?
Yeah, straight up. I was like, your water bill must be massive, dude.
Yeah, I would want to know, like, what is your water bill? Please tell me.
Oh, dude, it was crazy. Like, the expression on his face was like, oh, crap. Are you serious? 6 hours?
How long
I thought
has
that
this
was
been
6 minutes. And I was like, no. I was like, I turned the dial back the other way. I was like, this is 6 minutes. He's like, oh, shh.
God.
Yeah, it was nuts. He's like, oh,
Shit.
we never heard back from him either. So I guess it fixed it. But yeah, 23, I totaled it all up. It was 23 hours out of the day. He was running.
God, that's
crazy.
crazy. That is nuts.
But that just, yet again, that goes back to acknowledgement.
That dude must
what
have
you're
stupid
doing.
money. Resawed it 3 times, running, didn't even notice.
Yeah, didn't even notice it on his water bill.
Stupid money, man. He needed an MP conversion and a smart timer. That's what you needed.
Yeah, he needed a smart timer for sure, and that way you know he's running for 6 hours.
An MP conversion. Like, dude, I know it'll fix you up, man.
Yeah, no, that guy, that was crazy. That's still one of the funniest crazy ones I've ever been on. I was just like, yeah, I figured it out already. He's like, what is it? You're running for 6 hours of time on that. No way. Yeah, way. Hey, come here, I'll show you how I know. He's like, well, who did that? Beats me. It's my first time out here, man.
I just got here.
I don't know if it was you, your landscaper, whoever, but they messed up royally.
God. Surely he left the house and saw that river at some point.
You would think he would have had to.
God. That's nuts.
Maybe he's just like, man, who's got the river? But I don't know. Maybe it was specific zones in his house that you could see it a little better. I don't really know. I wasn't there asking a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
That was one of them ones that was boom, boom, done and done kind of thing.
Yeah. It was too bad we couldn't sell him some stuff.
That was before we did all that. That was back when I almost first started here.
No, really?
Yeah, that was before we really hit home on MP conversion and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the summary of today is just, I don't know, what do you think? I mean, I think you can really, if you can really get, I mean, a lot of the guys are solo guys, so you're going to have to figure out a way to train your guys in the field. You got to figure out a way to train your guys in the field quickly.
Yeah, I mean, back to this, making your guys as knowledgeable about stuff as possible, teaching them the difference when you are experiencing this, the different issues that can cause this. Let's take low pressure on a zone for an instance. I mean, that could be anywhere from a broken head to a broken pipe to a stuck closed valve. How do you distinguish which one of those it is? Because at the end of the day, we are a flat rate company. So when we tell a customer, hey, this is your fix, it has to be your fix. Or else we're out there spinning our wheels for nothing. Because, I mean, I very well won't take money from a customer if I don't fix their issue. So if I charge them for a valve and that doesn't fix their issue, I'm not charging them for that valve. I can't. It just doesn't make sense. It didn't fix your problem. But being able to distinguish that, there are simple ways to figure that out. A head, checking, looking for the water spots. Pipe leak, same thing. But what happens if your water's flowing under the ground? What's your next step? I always teach our guys, go look at the water meter. That'll be a fast determination between a stuck closed valve or a pipe leak or even a broken head. If you open that water meter and it's barely moving, you know it's a stuck closed valve.
Yeah.
That water meter's spinning a lot and you know it's a pipe leak. Leave that zone running.
Yeah. So prioritize training while you're out there in the field. And when you get into the winter, that's classroom time.
Yeah, most definitely.
That's classroom time.
Bring your guys in. Bring them in. If you're trying to still run through the winter, some of these companies shut down. Some of them stay running. but there's no reason why you can't bring part of your crew in, you know.
Yeah, and what we're doing right now is when it's raining, we're training.
Yeah, that's the
like
way to do it.
That's our new freaking motto right now.
It's raining is training.
Yeah, if it's raining, we're training. So,
yeah, I mean that's really the way to do it. I mean, like I said, we had what
I think everybody was up here except like Michael and Ethan because Michael had a few jobs. Ethan had like a $5,000 job today, but everybody else was up here today.
Yeah, at some point or another.
Yeah.
There was a few that was here from almost start to finish.
But yeah, I mean, it was a nasty rainy day today. But other than Michael and Ethan, everybody else was up here.
Yeah,
at some
I mean,
point. We were doing sales training, just role playing.
We had 4-year-old vets out there still learning stuff from new guys today.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you know, these guys out there that are making you money running a truck, there's no reason not to bring them in and brush up on their skills.
Yeah, get them uncomfortable.
Yeah, teach them how to do it.
Whether it's sales training, working on, hey, you just got a warranty call last week. You know, if it's a legit warranty call, a lot of our warranty calls aren't warranties, but if it's a legit warranty call, what was that about? How can we prevent that? Let's touch that up.
What exactly happened? What caused it? Mm-hmm. Why?
Let's train on that. Wintertime, any of your apprentices, let's train them up. Let's get them ready to get out on their own. Take the risk. You're going to get some callbacks. They're going to be calling you. They're going to piss off some customers, but
almost definitely.
God, we're at the point now with freaking as many guys as we have every day, we have somebody pissed off.
I mean, we had a new guy out there. Actually, this was talked about in training today. We'll just do the training part of it, but we had in the training we had somebody like, oh, well, that guy was new as a joke. And he was like, well, why'd you send a new guy out to my house? Well, everybody has to start somewhere. I mean, I can't very well not put a new guy anywhere. But for some reason, a customer gets offended when you send a new tech to his house.
Oh, yeah, that was in y'all's training?
Yeah, we actually touched on it in training today just out of BS-ery or whatever you would call it. But
some people do that.
It doesn't make any sense to me. You know, everybody has to start somewhere. It's just like a job. You know, oh, I don't have anything for my resume. Well, why don't you have anything for your resume? I've never had a job before. Oh, well, I can't hire you.
Yeah, I know.
How do you expect me to get experience if I can't get experience? You know?
Yep. That's what I'm saying. Like, every day we get somebody, every day we have a pissed off customer.
I mean, I know not to stop you, but I know another company, I won't mention any names, but it's another sprinkler company. And they just had a technician come in, or a helper. He was a technician at a different company at one point, and he went to that company to train with them. And he was on the truck for a week, and his training person, his trainee, or whatever you want to call him, told the boss, hey, he's not ready to be a technician, when he was a full-fledged technician at another company. But the guy that was training at this company within a week had decided, oh, well, he needs to be a helper for a while. The owner of that company then told the technician, the trainee at this point in time, he's like, man, I can't keep you on at my company. I just can't train you. That doesn't make any sense. He's like, go to another company, get the training you need, then come back to me. Well, why would I do that? You know, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's hard to find somebody fully ready if you're not going to invest the time in them. If you're just looking for somebody fully ready, like, hey, I want to be able to throw you in a truck right now. I don't want to have to invest any training in you.
Yeah, this particular company, they didn't want to hire anybody unless they had at least 5 years of experience. Well, that's honestly hard to come by. Generally, you don't.
Well, you can
a lot of times
them,
you don't snake people away from other companies unless your offering package is just so much better than someone else.
You can find them, but you have to be paying so well.
That was the funny thing about this particular company, is their pay was actually really terrible.
Yeah. Terrible pay. They had terrible pay.
Ticket time, and I think they gave like a 5% bonus.
Yeah, they only paid on billable hours.
Yeah.
So when it came out to it, it was almost like, right? You could work at
McDonald's for more.
yeah. You could just pick up overtime at McDonald's for more money.
Yeah, I mean that's one of those, one of
If you
those
work
companies
65 hours a week at McDonald's, you make more money.
Yeah, that's either one of those companies that their technicians that they have right now are just so loyal that they gave them the job, gave them the experience, or they just haven't went out and actually figured out what there is to
They
offer.
haven't looked around yet.
Yeah, that's one of those companies that's probably going to end up dissolving because their pay's just that bad. They don't want to train anybody, and I mean, like I said, it's kind of hard to snake people away from other companies.
Yeah, and they're charging dirt cheap prices.
I mean, me particularly, I don't even like hiring people from other companies. That's just me.
I don't either. Yeah, we've talked about it too. I don't.
Yeah, me and you've talked about this.
Yeah, prefer not to.
It always seems like they're set in their ways, and you don't really want that. I would rather teach a green guy how to do this job than try to break a full-fledged technician down to our ways.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, we brought that. Well, we've told the story, but we brought that one guy that came from another company over here to do like a day ride along, and just came over here with attitude. Oh, I don't need a ride along. I already know what I'm doing. This and that. It's like, hey, get the hell out of here. Then we don't want you.
Fine, then go on. I mean, we've had other people that's come from other companies that just hasn't worked out.
Yeah,
I think
nobody works out.
I think we have one technician right now that's come from another company.
Yeah, Eric. Yeah, Eric's the only one. He's a good dude, but
yep.
It's like looking for a diamond in a rough. I mean, I'll keep trying them, but every time they do some shady stuff,
I mean,
get on down the road.
We had that one in training the one time that he was like, "Aren't you the man of the house?" That was funny. That was great.
Yeah, doing the sales training.
Yeah.
Well, he would have been all right though if he just
showed up.
Yeah, he just wouldn't show up. But
yeah, I mean, that was crazy though. I was training a green tech at that time, and I was like, "Don't ever say anything like that.
Yeah.
If I ever get a call that you said something like that, I'm gonna be mad."
Yeah, he would have been all right. We could have worked around him. He just didn't show up. He was a funny guy though. He was the one guy that might have could have got away with saying something like that though.
Yeah, I couldn't believe your expression on that.
It made me
because
laugh.
mine was awe, dude.
It made me laugh.
And I mean, it might have just been the difference between like higher up in the company and actual still technician trainee guy. It was just a total cringe moment for me. Like, you can't talk to customers that way.
I don't know. It's just the way he said it. He had just this Mexican accent and just the way he was, I don't want to be rude, but aren't you the man of the house? I don't remember how he said it, but I was.
Yeah, no, that's exactly how he said it. You're right. It was funny, but it was also one of those things like,
dude. All right. Well, I was like, yeah, I mean, I am. I still got to ask her, though.
And then I told you, I was like, yeah, you would have said all right to him because you did. You accepted his quote at that point. And I was like, Kelsey is going to beat you down.
Yeah, he was funny.
Just wait till you told her you spent $3,000 because you're the man of the house.
Yeah, I'm the man of the house. Yeah, I did like that guy. I just didn't show up.
No, he was a good dude.
Yeah, I don't know, man. These guys, I guess, final thoughts again. You can't be afraid to take risks, man. You got to get these guys trained up, get them ready to go out, and then send them out there. Get them what they need, send them out there. You're going to get some complaints. They're going to call you for questions. You're going to get complaints. We get complaints every day about something. It's not always the work. Sometimes it's the estimate's too high. It might be a driving. I got a driving complaint. It's just something. When you get so many vehicles on the road, you're gonna get something. It's always just something. That's what you get when you grow. You get so many vehicles. It's always somebody wants to complain. Yeah, you just hear them out. That driving complaint I got today. I think we made it the whole day, all the way till 4:00, no complaints, and then 4:00, this guy. I get a call from Michaela, and here they go. This guy wants to speak to a manager. Take it. I got I just need to tell somebody that your guy's driving erratically. He's driving through my neighborhood and this and that. And it's just very dangerous, and I just need to let somebody know that if if I was the manager or I was the owner, I'd want to know that this is just unsafe. And he's just going on and on and on 20 minutes. And it's like, okay, thank you. I really appreciate you telling me because I certainly would want to know. Shay had already told me about this beforehand.
Yeah, my mom used to be the rep at my grandpa's company. What do you call that? The receptionist. I'm sorry. My mom used to be the receptionist at my grandpa's company, and we would get those two, and my mom would just tell them, "Okay, thank you for your acknowledgement of this. I'll fire him as soon as he gets in."
Oh, man, that's pretty harsh.
And yeah, and they would be like, "All right, thank you. Well, I wasn't really trying to get him fired or whatever." And then she'd be like, "Okay, well, I'll take that into account."
Yeah, no, I didn't do that. I just listened to them and acknowledged them and, made them feel better. And that was pretty much it. I wouldn't say that.
No, it was always the great line because it would automatically shut them down. Like,
That would shut them down.
I didn't, that's not what I wanted to do. Or, okay, I appreciate you firing him off of something that I said. When you got that mad of or not a customer at that point, but that mad of a complaint, it would just automatically shut them down. I mean, it was just crazy. I've heard her say it numerous times to people. Okay, I'll fire him as soon as he gets in here. Well, that ain't what I wanted to accomplish. Oh, well, shouldn't have told me then.
Yeah, shouldn't have called him. That's funny. Well, I think that's it for today. Be sure to like and subscribe. Email any questions you have to us. We'll be happy to answer them. Like and subscribe. Rate us on Apple. And we'll catch you next time.
Bye, guys.